New details and shakeups in alleged scandal amid top brass at the NYPD. Two department chiefs out. NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch removed the head of the NYPD's Internal Affairs Bureau.
Amid bombshell allegations, he demanded sex in exchange for overtime pay. Lieutenant Quathisha Epps and her attorney filing a formal complaint against Maddrey and the NYPD.
Hi guys, welcome to Shkrets. Today's episode is a whirlwind of greed, manipulation, and corruption. We're talking about Lieutenant Quathisha Epps from the NYPD, a woman who managed to rake in over $400,000 in a single year. Yes, you heard that right, over $400K, most of it in overtime. But let's not get distracted by the numbers. The real scandal lies in how she earned it and the explosive allegations she's now making against her boss. Get ready for a story that's equal parts messy and maddening. Let's start with the basics. Lieutenant Epps, a 19-year veteran of the NYPD, wasn't out patrolling the streets or busting criminals. Her job was administrative, working under Chief of Department Jeffrey Maddrey. Yet somehow, she clocked over 16,000 hours of overtime in 1 year, bringing in $240,000 on top of her $164,000 base salary. In total, she made over $400,000 in 2024, which frankly sounds more like the salary of a CEO than a lieutenant with a desk job. Even her colleagues couldn't believe it. One Bronx cop reportedly said, "What kind of administrative work keeps you there 115 to 120 hours of overtime every month?" And honestly, that's the million-dollar question. When the New York Post started poking around, things began to unravel. Investigators discovered allegations that Epps might have been falsifying her overtime records, signing off on her own hours, and even skipping work altogether. The NYPD wasted no time. Her overtime was suspended, she was reassigned to patrol duties, and an internal investigation was launched. Then, Epps dropped a bombshell. Just as the walls were closing in, she announced her early retirement, conveniently just shy of her 20-year mark. But she didn't stop there. In a dramatic twist, she accused her boss, Chief Maddrey, of coercing her into a sex-for-overtime scheme. According to her, Maddrey used his power to manipulate her into performing sexual acts in exchange for approving her massive overtime hours. But Maddrey wasn't about to take this lying down. He denied everything, calling her accusations outright lies, a desperate attempt to deflect after being caught red-handed. His attorney even claimed Maddrey wasn't involved in approving her overtime hours, dismissing the allegations as retaliation.
New details and shakeups in alleged scandal amid top brass at the NYPD. Two department chiefs out. NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch removed the head of the NYPD's Internal Affairs Bureau.
Amid bombshell allegations, he demanded sex in exchange for overtime pay. Lieutenant Quathisha Epps and her attorney filing a formal complaint against Maddrey and the NYPD, alleging a pattern of quid pro quo sexual harassment, abuse of power that went unchecked, and retaliation aimed at silencing her.
Lieutenant Epps is a 19-year veteran of the department and three-time cancer survivor. Her journey well documented by the NYPD. She worked under Maddrey as personnel officer in his previous post, but according to the complaint, the sexual harassment didn't begin until after he became chief of department.
Here's the kicker. If Maddrey is innocent, why did he suddenly resign? Was it guilt, or was it a calculated move to avoid further scrutiny? Let me know what you think in the comments, because this whole situation raises a ton of red flags. But let's pause for a second, because this isn't just about one scandal. This is about a toxic culture that exists in workplaces all over the world. And trust me, this isn't news to me. I grew up in Jamaica and started working there before moving overseas. Let me tell you about one of my early jobs. I worked for one of the most influential families in the country, a power couple. My mentor, who was brilliant and inspiring, had a husband who could only be described as a predator. If men are dogs, this man was their trainer. This man was sleeping with about 25% of the company, and it wasn't even a secret. Here's the wild part. Almost everyone in a management or supervisory role had slept their way up. Married women, single women, it didn't matter. If you wanted mobility, you knew where to go. I'll never forget how his hugs lingered just a little too long, like he was testing the waters. I was in my early 20s, pure, still a virgin, and completely disgusted. I often wondered if my mentor knew because everyone else did. But this was in a Caribbean country where movements like Me Too never existed, and sexual harassment claims weren't encouraged or taken seriously. That man's behavior was just swept under the rug. When I hear Epps' story, I can't help but wonder, was she truly a victim, or did she willingly play the game until she got caught? She claims she was coerced. But let's not forget that these allegations only surfaced after she came under investigation for inflating her overtime. And let's not downplay the money here. Over $200,000 in overtime alone isn't pocket change. Epps admitted she was desperate to save her home from foreclosure. But does desperation justify her actions? Or is it just an excuse now that she's been exposed? Now, don't get me wrong, if her allegations against Maddrey are true, then he's a predator who abused his power, and that's unforgivable. But from where I'm sitting, Epps isn't blameless either. This isn't just an ethical issue, it's outright theft. These two didn't just abuse their positions, they stole from taxpayers, people who expect their hard-earned money to go toward public safety, not someone's fraudulent overtime scheme. In my opinion, slap charges on both of them. This isn't the kind of behavior that should result in early retirement or a quiet resignation. It's an abuse of public trust, plain and simple, and there should be real consequences for their actions. This story reeks of opportunism on both sides. Maddrey likely used his position to exploit her, but let's be honest, Epps wasn't exactly a fawn in the woods. She played along, made her money, and only cried foul when the heat was turned up. If she truly felt coerced, why wait until an investigation into her overtime began to come forward? And this isn't just about them. This is about a workplace culture that rewards exploitation and silence. Why do people stay quiet until it's too late? Is it fear, shame, or pure convenience? Here's my advice for anyone navigating a toxic work environment. Know your worth. No paycheck, promotion, or opportunity is worth compromising your integrity. Draw boundaries. Don't let desperation cloud your judgment. Power dynamics can be overwhelming, but your self-respect is priceless. Speak up early. If something feels wrong, say something. Silence only empowers predators. And for those in positions of power, stop exploiting others. It's not just unethical, it's a ticking time bomb waiting to destroy your career and reputation.
We are consciously and decisively turning the page to ensure that we always match the lofty ideals and values that make this department the envy of the world.
At a promotion ceremony Monday morning, Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch not calling out anyone by name, but it seemed pretty clear what she was talking about. Chief of Department Jeffrey Maddrey abruptly stepping down over the weekend after Lieutenant Quathisha Epps filed an EEOC complaint saying between June 2023 and December 16, 2024, Maddrey exploited her emotional and financial vulnerabilities as well as her history of childhood trauma in order to coerce her into performing unwanted sexual favors.
It's extremely concerning and alarming.
A spokesperson for the mayor telling us he is working in close coordination with the police commissioner as the NYPD conducts a separate department-wide review to ensure no high-ranking officers are using their power inappropriately.
What do you think? Was Epps a victim of coercion, or was she complicit in her own downfall? And why do these toxic patterns continue to thrive in workplaces worldwide? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear them. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you like my vibe. Until next time, bye.